We have an update to Am I the Astronaut for not planning anything for Father's Day after my husband ruined my first Mother's Day? Oh dear. Oh my. I've had a lot of folks asking for an update, so here goes. First off, thank you all to everyone who commented on my earlier post, good and bad. It has been so helpful. Couple of things I want to mention first. A lot of commenters have been saying that I knew what I was getting into when I married DH, so this whole thing is as much my fault as anyone else's, and if I didn't want a mama's boy, I shouldn't have married one. Yep, you are 100% correct. I ignored all the red flags, constantly told myself it would get better once we were engaged, then once we were married, then once we got pregnant, then once we had kids. And I think part of the issue is she's gotten worse over the years. It feels like one of those frog in a pot of boiling water situations. I don't deny that I put myself into this situation, but the fact is we're here now, so we need to get it figured out. A lot of other commenters said my list of rules was crazy and that I'm just as bad of a mom as he is. Maybe I am, more on that later, but I don't think there is anything about my boundaries that are unreasonable, and there is nothing there that I expect from him and his parents that I don't also expect from myself and my parents. I've said repeatedly, they all boil down to the same basic thing, showing each other respect and consideration. I'm not saying he can't see his parent or that they can't come visit or anything like that. I'm saying that his parents don't get to have priority over us and our little family, and neither do my parents. First, the good. My husband ended up surprising me with a trip out of town. He took me and little one down to San Antonio for a long weekend. We had been pre-kid and really enjoyed staying on the Riverwalk and doing all the touristy stuff, even though we only live a few hours away. DH ended up really stressed and kept apologizing because obviously this trip was much different. It felt like a military expedition with all the gear we took for little one, and it wasn't nearly as romantic since we had a pack and play next to the bed. Been there. But I kept reminding him that what was important, to me at least, was that he took the initiative to plan something on his own and try to make up for Mother's Day. Even though it wasn't exactly what Hubs was hoping for, I had a really, really good time and enjoyed spending time with my two guys, and I expressed that to him. And to his credit, DH didn't answer when his mom called or spent all day texting her. Okay. A little bit of green flag action going on right now. We'll see if it sticks, but I know he paid for it when he got back because I heard them on the phone and it sounded like she was reading him the riot act for not telling them we were going, not inviting them along, and not answering when she called. I'm going to do something for him as a belated Father's Day, and we're going to try to build different, better memories of our first Mother's Day and Father's Day, even if it's after the fact. More good stuff. DH and I both have individual therapists we've been seeing weekly for the past several weeks, as well as couples therapists we have been seeing weekly together. And I'm going back to work full-time next week, so little one has been going to daycare part-time to help him acclimate. That first day was pretty traumatic, more for me than for little one, but he's been adjusting well and seems happy when I pick him up after lunch. This is a huge point of contention with mother-in-law because she wants to babysit, but I've said absolutely not because she won't respect any of our rules or boundaries. I've also been following through on my list of boundaries on my last post. I'm not no contact, but I guess the term is I've dropped the rope. What does that term mean? Now the bad. For little one's first birthday, I was planning something small and casual at our house. Just our parents and a few close friends, like 10 to 15 people max, counting me and DH. I was going to make a smash cake for little one and more grown-up type food / snacks / desserts for us and guests. I was planning some low-key decorations because, let's be honest, this kind of party is for the adults. Kiddo isn't going to remember any of it, so I didn't want to go overboard. Mother-in-law hated everything about it and wanted to do it at her house, invite all of her friends and relatives, serve more kid-centric food, get a store-bought cake with all that super sweet icing, and go nuts with decorations. I told her no. Absolutely not. Our kid, our house, our plans. She went crying to DH and he tried to talk me into letting her have her way. Nope, you lost your green flag privileges here, brozo. This has been a constant theme. Mother-in-law oversteps, I complain, DH put up boundaries, and then just as quickly, DH forgets about the boundaries. Then it's not a boundary. It's not a boundary. It's just a temporary line. We were able to talk about this in one of our early couple sessions, and it was pretty enlightening. I'm sure all the people saying DH just ended up marrying someone just like his mom will be gratified to know our counselor said, OP can have a forceful personality. So yeah, I'm bossy, pushy, opinionated, etc. How it came up is we were talking about the party, and I was saying what I wanted to do and why I didn't want to let my mother-in-law take over, etc. And DH was trying to explain why we should accommodate mother-in-law. The therapist interrupted us and asked DH what he wanted to do. DH started talking about about my plan versus his mom's plan, and the therapist stopped him again and asked what he wants. Based on his reaction, I don't think anyone has ever seriously asked him that. He had a complete deer in the headlights look, and I really thought he was going to bolt or start crying or both. How we ended it is, if he truly doesn't have an opinion or doesn't care, then he should probably defer to his wife's approach. He shouldn't delegate his right to decide to his mother. If he really wants to do it her way, then he needs to express that and say he wants to do it her way because he really wants to do it her way, as opposed to doing it her way just to avoid upsetting her. Or if he wants something completely different, he needs to express that, but his mom's opinion is not and cannot take precedence. I like it. Nothing wrong with her expressing her opinion and him agreeing, but that needs to be an active process as opposed to him just doing something because she said so. That was followed up by a conversation about how I have strong thoughts and opinions and I need to give him room to have his own. So rather than saying, I want to do X, and then expecting him to agree or disagree, I need to say something like, for little one's birthday, I have some ideas, but I'd like to hear what you think first so we can decide together. We did end up doing the party the way I wanted because DH took the therapist's advice and deferred to me since he did not have an opinion. Mother-in-law was super pissy about the whole thing and ended up bringing a sheet cake despite my telling her multiple times not to.
Of course she did.
We did not serve it during the party because boundaries, which pissed her off. DH and I have been munching on it as a late night snack after putting little one to bed and because of how insanely sweet the icing is. I'm glad I stuck to my guns. Oh, and you get to have the cake as like a midnight snack as a bonus?
She's having her cake and eating it too.
Look at you. I feel better because I put distance between myself and mother-in-law and I'm not worrying about pissing her off, so I'm not walking on eggshells anymore. But I don't know if I'm any more confident about whether our marriage will survive. I'm realizing that DH has deferred to other people, mother-in-law and me, for so long that he has a hard time having his own thoughts and opinion. I do still love him very much and I'm not as mad as I was when I first posted. Now I'm more sad for him and I'm starting to understand him better, but I don't know if he can change. I know she is complaining to him because I haven't been, what's this word mean? Kowtowing? Help me out. What is kowtowing a word? I know she is complaining to him because I haven't been kowtowing to her, and I have been visiting on my own or changing plans when they drop by unexpectedly, but I'm not pushing him to establish his own boundaries yet. I think he needs to do more work so he can decide what he wants out of all this. All that to say, we're still working through it, and I don't know what's going to happen. So, quick question, before we dive into anything serious, is the opposite of kowtowing, I'll just leave it alone.
Okay.
It is sad for hubby to have the deer in the headlights look and for all of them, well, for OP and he to have this realization moment where he doesn't know who he is. Or he's been attached to a strong personality his entire life, his mom and now his wife. And those two strong personalities are butting heads, as I would expect two strong personalities to do, right? But he needs to decide who he is and really think about what he wants. But that's going to be a process. And I would urge OP at this point to be like, I don't know that he can change. It's going to take the rest of his life to gradually change. Why do you feel like that nullifies your relationship at this point? Why do you feel like that is a negative for your relationship? Because you've uncovered something that can help him really grow as a person. And when people start growing as individuals, your relationship starts growing and strengthening as well.
But he has to want to. The things that he's discovering in therapy, he also has to put to work and he also has to do the work himself. So like if he's going to therapy and he's understanding these things and seeing these things for the first time in his life, he also has to do the work alongside of it in order to change and have his own opinions that aren't just a copy paste from his mom.
I understand.
So, and if he is, and I think that's why she's saying she doesn't know if the relationship can weather the storm, basically, because she's saying, I don't know if he's willing to change. I don't know. He recognizes it. We both see it. We understand how he got to where he is. Mom's made every decision for him. He's never had to do it on his own. And now that's a problem. And so how many years did it take him to get to this point? And she's saying, I don't know if he can rip the Band-Aid off and become someone who isn't dependent on his mother's opinion.
Or his wife's. And I think that is an important distinction. He's dependent on someone else for his opinion right now. But let me counter with, and I think that is an important distinction. He's dependent on someone else for his opinion right now. But let me counter with this. The version of him that she fell in love with is that version.
Right.
Isn't the grown version that has developed the ability to have opinions on his own. So like, why is it a prerequisite for him to grow and heal for the relationship to continue on? Because they know there's a problem now?
I would say because at this point, he's still prioritizing his mother's opinion and how it affects their family. So the birthday party, for instance,
Yeah.
she wanted one thing, and it should be the mom and dad that are making that decision. If they want 100 people or 10 people there, that should be up to the parents of the child, not to the mother-in-law, unless they specifically give her that to take on. But he was saying, let's just do it this way because this is what she wants. And so it's still happening. And I mean, she has to decide if she wants to stay alongside him and work through this, and feel the pain that is inevitably going to come along with it, because it's not going to happen overnight. The changes aren't going to be there, but
it's going to be tough. It's going to take time.
And I think that's how I took it. Like, this
is it. Okay. Are we going to survive the hard part?
Yeah.
Because at the beginning of therapy and the unmasking, and like, that is the hard part for him. And you're right. But there is a light at the end of that tunnel. And I think that's my point here. And also, like, because you knew and fell in love with the broken version of him. Like, I would hope that your first reaction here would be to want to stick it out and walk on this healing journey with him. Now, I've seen a lot in chat, and I 100% agree with this. That healing is never going to happen unless he finds a way to step away from his mother. His mother is the one person in all of this who does not respect or maybe even know about the realization, the discovery that was made in therapy. She's not going to respect that process. She's not going to let him learn to decide for his own sake. So there's got to be some kind of separation there for this to happen.